Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. We are continuing on in the book of James, chapter 1. Today, we're going to be reading verses 9 through 11. Let's go. It says, believers in humble circumstances ought to take pride in their high position. Maybe your translation here says poor. Believers in poor circumstances should take pride in their high position. Verse 10, but the rich should take pride in their humiliation, since they will pass away like a wildflower. For the sun rises with scorching heat and withers the plant. Its blossom falls and its beauty is destroyed. In the same way, the rich will fade away, even while they go about their business. Ooh, what is this talking about? What's interesting about this passage is it's the first example of James using some imagery, a little object lesson, so to speak. Here he's talking about a flower withering, a beautiful flower that also will wither because of the elements. I love imagery. I don't know if you've ever seen me preach on a Sunday morning or maybe even just some interactions. I love to use examples. I love visuals. And so I love the book of James because he uses a lot of visuals. He talks about horses later. He talks about the rudder of a ship. I mean, he talks about all sorts of things. And that really helps us sometimes put things into perspective. But in this specific passage, remember, coming off of trials and struggles, then going into asking for wisdom. Now he's talking about the poor and the rich. What is this about? Well, really, he's talking about where we put our value. You see, in that culture, many of the people were poor. As we talked about earlier this week, they were facing persecution. They were facing struggles. And in that day and age, people that were poor were really despised. They were looked as underclass. They were looked at lesser than. They were really devalued in that culture. And yet if you were rich, no matter how you got that way, suddenly you were looked as prestigious or valuable or as someone notable. It's not much different than today, right? And yet what James is trying to challenge the people with is, where do you put your value as a believer? Sure, the world says that your financial status affects your value, but that's not what God says. You see, he's saying here that if you are actually poor financially or poor in this world, you need to remember that you're rich in the salvation that comes through Jesus Christ. And if you're rich in this world, if you've got a lot to show for yourself, watch out. Everything in this life can be taken from you, just like how a flower that looks so beautiful in a moment can wither away. He's reminding us that our true joy, our true stability, our true value should come in our relationship through Jesus Christ. And that is equally available to all people. It's not based on your status, amen. It's not based on how much money you have in your bank account, amen. It's not based on what house you have or what family you live in or what people you associate with. It's not based on your title or your accolades. All of us are equal at the foot of the cross, but he's also reminding us to remain humble. You see, some of the people in that day and age, they did have money, and they weren't living in the same fear as some of the people that didn't. They were actually finding some security in what they had, even in the middle of trials. And when you face trials and struggles, it actually sobers us to realize how fleeting life is and how inconsistent the things are that we can put our faith in. You see, finances will fail, but God never fails. Relationships can break down, but God never breaks down his relationship with us. These things come and go, but really God is the only thing in our life that is consistent. And so the thing I want to challenge you with today is how much energy, how much effort, how much prayer, how much attention are you investing in eternity versus things of this world that will go away? So many of us build our lives on this persona of what other people think of us or our status. And when those things get threatened, we feel like, God, where are you? And God's like, I was here all along. Where have your eyes been? They haven't been on me. You've been building these castles on earth that moth and rust can destroy, but store up a treasure in heaven. We need to be challenged today in ourselves to actually look at our own priorities and recognize that God values our relationship with him. Nothing else we bring to him matters. He simply wants to know us personally. You can't bring anything in this world to heaven other than other people. And so what if we invested more time in sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ than building up kingdoms that will fade away. Hey, I want to thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for another Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth.